A football kicked vertically up reaches a height h and comes down to the starting point in 4 seconds. That means time of flight is given as 4 seconds. The value of h is. So here is the football kicked upwards and again it came down. The total time to reach to go to the highest point and again to come back to the same initial point, it took 4 seconds. T is nothing but time of flight, that is 2u by g, or 2 times of time of ascent or 2 times of time of descent, that is 2t is given to be 4 seconds. This implies t is equals to t seconds. The time taken from here to go upwards or again from go upward to downward, whatever you consider, its value is taken as 2 seconds. Either this part or the other part, either upward motion or either downward motion, it takes 2 seconds. Okay. Well, the value of h, you're asked to find the value of h. So, from here to here or here to here means the same. Let me consider this height you're asked to find out. Let us consider from here to here the time was given as 2 seconds, upward highest point to downward 2 seconds. So, whenever a body falls from highest point to downward motion, initial velocity would be 0. It is an example of a freely falling body. Why? Because at the highest point, its velocity vanishes. So, becomes 0. So, initial velocity is 0. So, freely falling body. If you consider that same aspect, we have v square minus u square equals to 2as. Okay. So, instead of that, let me consider s is equals to ut plus half at square. This would help you better. In this formula, what is the s value? The total height h. U means freely falling body 0. So, this totally taken as 0. Half acceleration is downward due to gravity, that is g into t square. So, the time from here to here was already, you know it as 2 seconds. Hence, you are asked to find the value of h. h is equals to half. G is taken as 9.8 and t from here to here or either from here to here only 2 seconds. So, t is 2 seconds. 2 square is 2 into 2. Gets cancelled. So, you are left with how much, children? 9.8 into 2, that is 19.6. But if you check out the options, either it was given a 9.8, 2 times of 9.8, 3 times of 9.8 and 4 times of 9.8. So, your answer is 2 times of 9.8 meters is your answer. Is that clear, children? So, total time of flight was 4 seconds. So, only this region, either time of descent or time of ascent will be 2 seconds. So, if you consider only time of descent and that distance is travelled is h. So, from the formula s equals to ut plus half at square as initial velocity is 0, we have h is equals to half gt square. Substituting the above values, you get the value of h as 2 times of 9.8 meters. Okay, children. So, now moving to the next question, that is question number 11. Two bodies are thrown vertically upwards with their initial velocity in the ratio 2:3. So, what is given, children? Initial velocities, that is u1 and u2 for two different bodies was given as 2/3. For first body, initial velocity to the second body initial velocity ratio was given as 2/3. Then the ratio of maximum heights attained by them. You are asked to find the maximum height attained by them. So, you need to find out the relation for velocity as well as heights. Okay, and two bodies are thrown vertically upwards and it reaches maximum height. Children, one thing it is very sure that if any body reaches maximum height, at the maximum heights, its velocity would become 0. So, if initial velocity will be something, so with this initial velocity, if it is projected upwards, goes up, 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 and when it reaches the highest point, its final velocity becomes 0. So, final velocity for both cases is 0. Hence, by taking with the formula, we have v square minus u square equals to 2as. So, v square means final velocity is 0 square minus u square is equals to upward motion. Acceleration is taken as minus 2g and height is some h. So minus u square is equals to minus 2gh, or u square is equals to 2gh. Okay, children. So for any upward motion, we can say that for its maximum height, the relation for h and u is u square is equals to 2gh. So now, in order to find out the given solution, we know that since u square is equals to 2gh, 2 is always constant. G, the value of G on the surface of the earth is 9.8. So it is also constant. Hence clearly we have u square is proportional to h. As they are asking for ratio, we can directly go with this. Hence if you compare two things, u1 proportional to h1, u2 proportional to h2. So u1 by u2 whole square is proportional to h1 by h2. So not proportional, you can directly, comparing means you can directly take it as h1 by h2. Suppose if you don't understand this, I can explain you in a better way to get the same relation. So what we have got it, u square is equals to 2gh. Okay. First condition, only for the first body velocity was taken as u1. 2 is constant. First case also 2 will be there. Second case also 2 will be there. Don't change. Gravity, value of G is constant. There also 9.8. Here also 9.8. Okay. For the first body, height is taken as h1. Okay. Second body, u2 square is equals to 2gh2. Equation 1, equation 2. Divide both the equations. Then we have equation 1 upon equation 2 implies u1 square by u2 square is equals to 2gh1 upon 2gh2. Same values here. Hence, h1 by h2 is equals to u1 by u2 whole square. Children, what is the value of u1 by u2? It is 2 by 3. So, 2 by 3 whole square. Nothing but 4:9. 4 by 9 or 4:9. Hence, your answer, second option. Okay. So, whenever constant terms are there, simply eliminate them because they will get cancelled. And in such case, whenever you get constant, if you want the relation u1 by u2 whole square equals to h1 by h2. That is what I have written here. u1 by u2 whole square equals to h1 by h2. Direct formula. Okay. Well, moving to the next question, 12th question. A stone thrown vertically upwards attains a maximum height of 45 meters. In what time the velocity of stone becomes equal to 1/2 of the velocity of the throw? So, let us consider a diagram for this to make you better understand. A stone is thrown vertically upwards and it attains a height of 45 meters. That's it. In what time the velocity of the stone becomes equal to 1/2 the velocity of the thrown? So let us suppose the velocity of throw is u. And here the final velocity will be 0. Whenever it reaches the maximum height of 45 meters, its velocity becomes 0. So what you are asked to find at somewhere, let us suppose something here, not at half of the height, somewhere its velocity became u by 2. Okay, so now you are asked to find out, to become from u to u by 2, it would have traveled some distance and covered some time t. Okay, so this velocity becomes half. How much time it would have taken? In what time the velocity of the stone become equal to 1/2 the velocity of the thrown? So you are asked to find out the time taken to become the velocity from u to u by 2, not the height. Okay. So based on that, first of all, what we can do it? First of all, try to find the value of u. Initial case, let us try to find out the value of u. Later, we can substitute in the second equation. Two different equations we will be getting. To just forget about all the things. Only focus on the conditions. That is, one is u. The other is v, final velocity 0, and the height is 45. If you focus only on that, initial velocity is known, final velocity is known, height is also known. So, What formula do we get, children? V square minus u square equals to 2as. Final velocity is how much? 0 square minus initial velocity u square. Upward motion acceleration is taken as minus g, and height is taken, displacement is from here to here. Height is nothing but that is 45 meters. So minus u square is equals to minus 2 into g. They have given as 10 into 45. Minus minus got cancelled. Hence the value of u square is 2 into 45. How much? 90. 90 into 10 is 900. Or u is found to be root over 900 is 30 meter per second. So the velocity of throw was found to be 30 meter per second. Now you are asked to find the relation between these two. Children, again if you observe these two, here the velocity was, initial velocity was u, final velocity was u by 2, and the time taken is t. So initial velocity, final velocity and time taken. Based on the initial velocity u, final velocity v and time taken, what relation could you able to identify? Yes, that is v equals to u plus at. Okay, first kinematic equation. Instead of v, what is there, children? U by 2. So u by 2 must be equals to initial velocity u itself. It is an upward motion. Okay, for an upward motion, acceleration is taken as minus g into this time you have to find out. Okay, so bring this minus gt the other side, then gt will become u minus u by 2. I carried minus gt to the other side, left side, and u by 2 to the right side. So the value of gt was found to be u minus u by t is u by 2, or t is found to be u by 2g. What was the value of u? You found, children, 30. So hence after substituting the proper values, 30 upon 2 into the value of g is 10. Simplify. It is 3 by 2. 3 by 2 is nothing but 1.5 seconds. Hence second option. So two different equations you have to depend on. One is v square minus u square equals to 2as, from which we can find the value of u. Later on v equals to u plus at, from where you can find the value of the time taken to reach the half of the maximum height. Okay, children? Well, next question. A man drops a ball downwards from the roof of a tower of height 400 meters. The tower height was given how much, children? 400 meters. At the same time, another ball is thrown upside with a velocity of 50 meters per second. So, first case, a man drops a ball downward direction. Okay. Height was given as 400. Picture they have only given. Okay. So, from here, the ball was being dropped. Okay. Well, downward motion, and height was given as 400 meters. At the same time, simultaneously, another ball is thrown upside with a velocity of 50 meters per second. Here, when it was thrown 50 meters per second, and it is a freely falling body. Then they will meet at which height from the surface? You are asked to find the value of h2. From the surface of the tower means here to here. Okay, surface to point of me. This is your meeting point, and until this means h2 you are asked to find out. I hope the question is clear, children. Okay, so based on that, let us try to find the proper answer. Well, so initially, if you go with this, both the balls are meeting at a point somewhere here. So that let us indicate that point as some P. Okay, so instead of here, let us write this meeting point as P. Okay. So let us suppose that both balls meet the point at T. Okay. So now the first case, for a freely falling body. For a freely falling body, we have, what is the relation, children? S is equals to ut plus half at square. Okay. Freely falling means initial velocity is 0. Okay. S is equals to ut plus half gt square or half at square. Freely falling body. This is initial velocity 0, hence it will become h equals to 0 plus half gt square. So this must be a first equation. From here, like whenever a body falls from this point, freely falling means equation will be half gt square. Some distance, okay. Let us suppose that it may meet at this point. Until that, if you consider that, let me name it as some h1 from here to here, half g time from here to here. Okay, from here to here, time is something like t. Okay, half g t square. At the same time, another ball is thrown upside. So again, upward motion, same time, another ball is thrown with what velocity, children? 50 meter per second from the surface of the tower. Then they will meet. So whatever the time was taken from here to here, the same amount of time it took to meet. Travel from there to here. So case 2, to travel the height h2, again the same formula, s is equals to ut plus half at square. Now the distance traveled is h2. Initially certain velocity was given, so some velocity was there. Upward motion, acceleration will become minus gt square. So second equation would take a form of h2 is equals to ut minus half gt square. Children, here also I took t, here also I took t, because they travel for the same time, simultaneously, at the same time. Okay, as far as this is traveling, at same time this is also traveling, and they both are meeting at this particular point. So time interval for the two stones to travel is t only. Until this, is it clear, children? Okay, so I have given you two equations, and now let us try to solve. If you observe the diagram properly, this length is h1 and this length is h2. The total height h1 plus h2 would be 400 meters. Hence, we know that h1 plus h2 is nothing but 400 meters. The total height is nothing but h1 plus h2 is 400 meters. So what is h1 actually? Half gt square, and h2 was ut minus half gt square is found to be how much, children? 400 minus half gt square plus half gt square. Ut is equals to 400 u, or t is equals to 400 by u, isn't it, children? Time is equals to 400 by u. But what is the time of throw? The same time another ball is thrown with velocity. How much they have given? 50 meter per second. So 400 upon throw, velocity throw is 50. So finally how much is that? 8 seconds. Okay. So they will meet after how much time? 8 seconds. They travel for a time interval 8 seconds. They are traveling for 8 seconds. But they are not asking us to find out the time. They asked us to find out at what height from the surface. That means they are asked to find out the value of h2. They didn't ask you to find the time. They asked you to find the value h2. So children, to find out the value of h2, what shall we do? Well, let us try to find out either h1 or h2, and then let us try to simplify. Okay, so whatever, well, first of all, because this is a freely falling body, we can find the value of h1 from the equation. Yes, this first equation, if you observe this h1, since we know that h1 is equals to half gt square, so G you can replace with 9.8 because 10 they haven't given. So 9.8 into t square. T square means how much? Everything in approximation. Okay. 8 into 8, that is 64. 4, 8 4 is 32. Well, so children, here everything is in the round figure. Though they haven't given you 9 to take 10, but let me take it as 10 only for simplified version only. Okay. If not, you can go with 9.8, but you may get in decimal, so you have to take the approximate value. So 10 G, I have considered it as 10. You can take it as 9.8 as well, but I considered it as 10 by looking at the options. Okay, children, when to take 9.8, when to take 10, by more and more practice you can get into that. Okay, so I considered here as 10 into t square is how much? 8 into 8. 2 goes 4 times. 8 4 is 32. 32 into 10 is 320. So H1 was found to be 320 meters. So mostly what mistake do we do is, yes, 320 is there, we got the 320, and you will take the answer and you will get wrong. Okay, you may lose your mark because they didn't ask us to find out H1, they asked us to find out H2. So look at the problem carefully. They will meet at which height from the surface of the tower. So you're asked to find H2, not H1. So what we have observed was the value of H1 was 320 meters. And the total height was found to be 400 meters. So what would be the value of H2? Since H1 plus H2 is nothing but 400 meters. If you want only H2, H2 is equals to 400 minus H1, or H2 is equals to 400 minus H1 was 320. Hence H2 was found to be how much, children? It is 80 meters is your proper answer. H2 is 80 meters. So not this. The answer must be option number C. Got it, children? Children, look at here. If you substitute 9.8 here, then you may get 8 4's 32 into 9.8. How much it would be? 32 into 9.8 to 16, 25 to 18, 28. Okay, something like 313.6, but here we got it as 320. Okay, if you subtract 313.6 from 400 means you may get something like more this one, 88 point something you'll be getting, and no such option is there. So you have to take the value of G according to the required answer. So if it is, maybe it is 9.2, sometimes it may be 10. So based on the result of outcome, you have to substitute the value of G accordingly. Okay, children? So don't get confused. So moving to the next question. A very large number of balls are thrown vertically upwards. Balls are thrown upwards in quick succession, one after the other. Immediately balls are being thrown such that the next ball is thrown when the previous one is at the maximum height. So one ball, if it is thrown, means it should reach the maximum height. So when this ball reaches the maximum height, they are throwing another ball is being starting. Okay, so when it starts, it again falls down. Okay, so like that. So the moment a ball reaches a maximum height, second ball is being thrown. Second ball starts its journey. So when it starts its journey, what happens to the first ball? It comes down. Okay. So as and when it reaches down, this will meet upwards. Okay, children. So every time what we observe is this goes upward, this comes downward. This is the point of observation. Let us see what is happened. Many such balls are being thrown. A very large number of balls are thrown vertically upwards in quick succession, one after the other, immediately, such a way that the next ball is thrown when the previous one is at the maximum height. If the maximum height is found to be 5 meters, the number of balls thrown per minute is. So in 1 minute, how many such balls are thrown? So this is what we have asked to find out. So children, we know the formula V square minus U square equals to 2AS. At the highest point, maximum height, final velocity of the ball would be 0 minus, you are not given the value of U square unknown, equals to upward motion acceleration is taken as minus G, and height is taken as displacement height is given as 5. Okay, children? So let me take it as formula as some H. Okay, so minus U square is equals to minus 2GH, or U square, U is equals to root over 2GH, and the value of G you are asked to take 10 meters. Here sometimes they will give it as 10 and sometimes you need to consider it as 10. So what was the velocity of throw, children? It was found to be root over 2G8. Now let us try to find out the velocity, the time taken for the body to reach. Okay, we know that the time interval between, you are asked to find the time interval between the two successive balls. So first of all, let us try to find out initial velocity of throw is root over 2gh. Okay, let us try to solve this. 2 times of g is 10 and height is 5. Okay, height is how much? 5 meters. Somewhere they gave 5 meters. I substitute all. 5 2's 10, 10 10's 100, root over 100 is 10 meter per second. So with what velocity the ball is being thrown up? 10 meter per second. Let us see how much time it would have taken to reach the highest point. To find out the time of ascent, okay, we know the formula it as u by g. What is the value of u? 10. And the value of g is also 10. Hence, time of ascent is 1 second. So, in order to make this ball move from the ground to the highest point, how much time it took? It takes 1 second. Every ball takes 1 second to reach the maximum height. Okay. But here, what was the question they asked for? The number of balls thrown per minute. In every second, one ball is thrown. So, this ball, 1 second, if it reaches maximum height, second ball is thrown. Again, second ball reaches maximum height means, after that means 1 second, after 1 second, third ball is. So, every ball is being thrown after every 1 second. Okay, so every ball takes 1 second to reach the maximum height. Immediately next ball is thrown. But as you're asked to find out in 1 minute how many such balls are thrown. So 1 ball 1 second means in 1 minute, in 1 second 1 ball is being thrown. So how many balls are thrown? In 60 seconds, 1 minute means in 60 seconds, how many balls are thrown? Of course, it is 60 balls. How much, children? In 60 seconds, we have 60 balls. That's the answer. So the number of balls thrown per minute is 60 balls. Okay, so this model we have already solved in the previous exercise, I think. Moving to the 15th question, a particle is thrown vertically upwards. Particle is thrown vertically upwards. If its velocity at half the maximum height is 10 meter per second. Let me plot the diagram, rough diagram. So what is given, children? A particle is thrown vertically upwards. Okay, this, let us suppose the total height be some h. The velocity at half the maximum height, this is the half the maximum height, and here the velocity was given as some 10 meter per second. Okay, the maximum height attained by this you are asked to find out. In order to find out this, first of all let us try to find out this initial velocity. So this will of course 0. Okay, two different conditions. Let us only focus on this part. You are asked to find out h. You are asked to find out h. Okay. Well, based on that, either you take v square minus u square equals to 2as is the only option. But before finding that, let us try to focus on this. Initial velocity unknown, some u. Okay. Find between these two gaps or intervals. Initial velocity is u, final velocity is 10, distance is h by 2. Okay, let us try solving this. No other value was given. Well, so here two unknowns are there, u is unknown, h is unknown. So, no information. But if you focus on the latter case, children, the total height was given as h. And this portion was given as h by 2. So, what could be this height, children? Total is h, this portion is h by 2. So, no doubt it will be h by 2. Yes? In this case, if this velocity is 10 meter per second and this velocity is 0, based on this equation, initial velocity known, final velocity known, distance is also known. Can't you find out the height? Of course, you can find it out. So, what formula do we use, children? Yes, v square minus u square equals to 2as. V square minus c square equals to 2as. Due to gravity means v square minus u square equals to minus 2gh is the generalized formula for a vertically projected body. In this case, what is the final velocity? 0 square. Initial velocity is 10 square equals to minus 2. G was given to be 10. H, among this, in between this, what is the height? H by 2. That's it. This 2 gets cancelled. Minus 100 is equals to minus 10h. Minus gets cancelled. 0 cancel. Hence, the value of h is found to be 10 meters. What is the value of height, children? Though we substituted this value by taking h by 2, but you got the answer for h as 10 meters. This total portion was found to be 10 meters. That's it, children. Okay. Well, so answer is option number B, that is 10 meters. Okay. Well, so you have to identify the given data and rethink what you have to find out. Okay, by the help of a rough picture diagram, you can identify the given values and think logically and try to substitute with the kinematic equations.